Today we're talking about 3 capacity planning tips for IT teams. Well, over the years in doing capacity planning for IT organizations, there was always this one question we were asking: do we have the capacity to do this work? So basically we were looking at capacity according to resources, people resources in this case. We have this capacity and we need this capacity to do the projects. So basically we're looking at a supply and demand situation. We want to look at what is the gap. We want to determine, do we have too many resources in the organization or do we not have enough? Well, sometimes when we look at people resources, we could look at maybe we've had several canceled projects for some reason. Maybe we want to keep a bench of certain resources on our projects for when we need them. But also, if we don't have enough people resources, it could be that maybe there's a skill gap. We need to do some training or we need to do some sourcing. And maybe there are just too many projects going on at one time, therefore we don't have enough people. So we want to measure and track this so we can get good insights to make good decisions. So one question always comes up, and it's what's the difference between capacity planning and resource planning? So again, we're talking about people resources in this, but capacity planning is looking at the organizational level. It's a planning process to help you determine if the organization has enough people resources according to skill sets. And it also helps you determine the availability of resources at the skill set and team level, and helps facilitate decisions to hire resources, maybe even defer, approve, or even cancel some projects. Again, we're looking at supply and demand. But when we talk about people resource planning, it also is a planning process, but it helps to coordinate and allocate actual people resources, the people on the project, according to the skills required for that project. It also provides a plan for the project managers to let them know what resources are available and when they're available to assign to the projects. So again, it's people resource utilization. So I found helpful to have this checklist, and this is a high level, so you can actually break this down as far as you need to, but these are 5 steps on the checklist that I found helpful. So first of all, you want to establish a cross-functional team where different levels, different functions, so that you can collaborate and communicate about resources because you're looking at across different projects and even programs for an organization. You also want to calculate the resource capacity. You want to determine what resources are required by project. So for every project, you're looking at what is the scope and what resources are required to do the task for those projects. Then you want to prioritize your projects for the organization and allocate the resources based on the priorities for your organization and how they align to the goals. But here are the tips. So I found there are more, but these are the top 3 that I think have helped me the most. So first of all, you want to open the lines of communication between the executives, the project leaders for all of those projects, as well as the stakeholders, because each of these are working different parts of different projects, and you want to keep those lines of communications open about priorities and decisions that are required. You also want to document known risks that can impact the projects, and they could be, for instance, some industries have projects that maybe have union labor, and every so many years the union contracts come up, and it could impact whether those resources are available. Sometimes weather, if bad weather or a big event occurs, the weather could impact your project, and even government regulations. Sometimes government regulations, your company has to respond to something, and it may spawn off an unexpected project. And then you can plan for how to handle too many or not enough resources. So if you have too many resources, you need to determine where and how to reassign those resources. And then if you don't have enough, you've got to determine when and how to source them. So the big bonus here is to use a tool, because as you can see, according to different projects in an organization, this can become very complex, and a tool can really help. So if you need a tool to help you with your capacity planning, then sign up for our software now at projectmanager.com.